News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
Good afternoon. It's now 4:05 in the KVNU studios. I'm Will Feelright with you on Monday. Shortened work week, hopefully, with many of us, of course, getting the chance to celebrate 4th of July coming up on Friday. So maybe looking at a extended weekend coming up. I'll check that weather forecast for the next week coming up in just a minute. First, we'll look at our top stories. And Logan firefighters say they were able to quickly extinguish a fireworks-caused grass fire Friday night that had threatened some nearby structures and vehicles. Now, crews say they responded to reports of a brush fire near the intersection of 600 North and 200 West just before 7 p.m. Friday. Now, the first arriving units discovered the area of about 2,000 square feet of tall vegetation completely engulfed in flames. According to firefighters, the fast-moving blaze immediately threatened an adjacent boat, an RV trailer, and also a property fence. Now, firefighters were able to contain the fire rapidly, protecting the endangered property and also minimizing overall damage. Investigators say they later determined that the fire was sparked by fireworks, and criminal charges are currently pending against the individuals responsible. Meanwhile, residents have returned to their homes after being evacuated for a second time when the Iron and Cherry fires merged Friday near Eureka. Now, while rain and cooler temperatures over the weekend had provided some brief relief, fire officials say that the community is not entirely out of danger. Now, Eureka remains under a set evacuation status, meaning the residents must be prepared to leave again if conditions change. Now, fire crews have made some progress on the Iron Fire, allowing officials to shift their primary focus now to the neighboring Cherry Fire. Now, as of yesterday, the Cherry Fire had burned approximately 34,000 acres and remains around 0% containment. Now, fire spokesperson Brianna Liston said that crews are taking full advantage of the cooler temperatures and lighter winds. However, she noted that another round of evacuations still remains a possibility. And speaking of fires, the U.S. Forest Service has temporarily banned campfires on land that it manages in central and southwest Utah because of the surge in wildfire activity. Now, the agency is elevating the Dixie and Fish Lake National Forest to now Stage 2 restrictions. The order prohibits campfires, charcoal stoves, outdoor smoking, and the operation of chainsaws, generators, or welding torches. Now, gas and liquid-fueled stoves remain permitted if cleared of flammable materials. Well, we've had some clouds and some cooler weather today, which has, again, been nice. But we'll eventually get back into the 80s as we work our way through the rest of the week, as we're going to see mostly sunny skies from now through Friday. Temperatures gradually warming up, and looking ahead, Independence Day Saturday, looks like we're going to see temperatures back up near 90. And weather this hour is brought to you by the Best of Northern Utah. Yeah, the winners were announced last week, and KVNU, along with our sister stations, want to congratulate some of those winners like North Star Exteriors, Hanson Motor Company, Boneyard Barbering, and Bear Lake Window Cleaning. They were just some of the great winners in this year's Best of Northern Utah contest with almost 1 million votes this year. Now, you can check out a magazine at any of the great local businesses throughout town, or go to bestofnorthernutah.com and check out all the winners. I'll have another check of local news coming up at the bottom of the hour, as KVNU News Time is now 4:08, and it's time for KVNU's For the People show with Jason Williams coming up next.
My friend John Hansen at the Duct Hunter has constantly educated you about the need for ductwork cleaning in your home. But what about your cabin or summer home outside the valley? You need that home's ductwork cleaned too. With high pollen counts in the mountains, dust always in the wind, and road construction ever present, the old adage of out of sight, out of mind is bad. Give the Duct Hunter a call at 770-4813 to clean out those dirty ducts in your summer home.
We are the Duct Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home.
For the People, weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
This summer, America turns 250. To honor this anniversary, Utah's United States Senator John Curtis will walk 250 miles through Utah, ending in Provo at the Stadium of Fire on the 4th of July. He'll walk through our communities with Utahns joining him along the way to reflect on America's founding values and how we can embody those values in personal and civic life. He'll also pay tribute to Utah's pioneers and their arrival in the Utah Territory. Even after being driven from their homes, they held fast to their faith in the principles of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. The values that guided them still matter today. Follow Senator Curtis on the journey and reflect with him on the values that have made America endure. You can find Senator John Curtis on social media at Sen John Curtis. Paid for by Results Matter Institute.
Got metal? Turn it into cash fast. At Valley Recycling, we pay cash on the spot for aluminum, copper, steel, any metal you've got. Old appliances, scrap from a job site, cans you've collected. If it's metal, we're buying. No hassle, no waiting. Just pull up, drop off, and get cash. So clean up the garage, yard, barn, or shed and bring us your scrap metal. We're Valley Recycling at 145 North 10th West in Logan and valleyrecycling.com.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Monday, June 29th. I'm Jason Williams. 63 degrees here at the Radio Ranch at 4:11 in the afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Coming up on the show today, updates on wildfires all around the state and the West. Which cities here in Cache Valley and throughout northern Utah have banned fireworks, which have strangely not even said a word about the governor's statewide ban. We'll talk about tragic news over the weekend. What exactly happened at the Utah-Colorado border this weekend that cost 3 firefighters their lives and injured 2 others seriously. And also just an infuriating story of people calling and threatening local fire officials about the fireworks ban. Immature doesn't even begin to describe it. But what a couple of fire departments here in northern Utah are saying they've been experiencing after they recommended, along with many fire officials throughout the state, that the state forester and the governor work together to find a way to ban personal fireworks due to the dry conditions out there. Now, it's been a little cooler today. We got a little moisture over the weekend, tiny little bit here and there. But it is warming back up, and it is still, there's still plenty of fuel out there. You don't have to be a fire marshal to see the risk. It's really unfortunate timing. I'm a huge fan of fireworks as well. Now, it's worth pointing this out. We still have the commercial shows that many cities were doing are still planned. Those can be done in a safe way with fire crews on hand and close monitoring weather conditions in locations where any accidents that do happen would be very easy to take care of quickly before they became a problem, things like that. But one city has actually, Beaver, Utah, has actually canceled their commercial show and most of their July 4th related celebrations due to the cottonwood fire that is still just raging through the hills around there. And they said, the city officials, when they made the announcement, said they did this mainly out of respect. They realized that their planned celebration was going to pull firefighter resources already pretty taxed fighting this fire for the last week plus. And it was going to force some of them to be pulled off that fire and to come to the city to keep things safe around the July 4th celebrations. And they said that made no sense to us. So it is what it is, and I know it's disappointing, but again, you don't have to be a fire marshal or a state forester to look around and see what the risk is. Coming up, I talked a little bit about this. I was invited over the weekend to join. Now, I'm not going to pat myself on the back here because I walked literally 1/250th of what he's walking, but you heard the advertisement there during the news break for Senator John Curtis's 250 miles for America's 250th walk. He actually got underway early in the morning in Rich County on Friday. He managed to make it to the Bear Lake area in Garden City by Saturday morning. And now, of course, he's not walking 24 hours, but for security reasons, they're also not, explaining exactly where the senator's sleeping each night. But this is, I learned yesterday, been carefully planned out. And I was able to join him yesterday here in Cache Valley as he came into the valley. He actually got into Cache Valley. Just to give you an idea of the route he's taken, if you know the dirt roads in the hills around here well enough, you know that there is actually there's a path you can take from the Lake Town area, south end of Bear Lake, to Blacksmith Fork Canyon in the Hardware Ranch area. Well, Senator John Curtis, I learned yesterday, came out of Blacksmith Fork Canyon at the south end of Cache Valley at roughly 6, 7 a.m. yesterday. He started walking at 4 a.m. Sunday morning. And he walked through a good chunk of Cache Valley and then wrapped up his day yesterday in Paradise. And then I just out of curiosity, I texted his team this morning and said, where are you guys starting today? And they started in Liberty today. So he's making his way through the Eden Valley. Now, he's posting daily recaps. In fact, I made it into his video that he posted on his social media channels yesterday. Just a brief clip of me there and some others that he met with. Fox News actually flew an entire crew out to Paradise to catch up with him. And they'd set up a lighted, staging area like they do for cable news with the microphones and everything. And they waited until he made his way up the road. And then he stopped. He put on a jacket, because it was a little chilly by then, and did a Fox News interview last night from Paradise, Utah. It's a really cool thing, but I had a chance to talk with Senator Curtis about why he's doing this. He's not up for re-election. This isn't just a publicity stunt. He did tell me when we spoke yesterday while walking that he'd always wanted to do something like this. He said, I know there's some beautiful areas, some beautiful canyons, some beautiful places all throughout the Wasatch Back. And I'd been through these areas in cars many times, sometimes. But he said, I wanted to walk through some of these small towns. I wanted to actually talk to people on the street. And he told me yesterday that one of the things that had been really fun for him is that he'd had conversations with people, talking to them about America's 250th birthday, about politics in America, about politics here in Utah, public policy, things they were worried about. And he said some of the people that he talked with had absolutely no idea who he was. He had a baseball hat on and sunglasses, and as he's walking, and he said, sometimes he got recognized, sometimes he didn't. Sometimes the security team that was following him or leading would be spotted, and then everybody knew he was someone important. But he said a lot of times, including on the beaches of Bear Lake on Saturday, great video he posted to his, I believe that was on his Instagram account, a few people who had a few on the beach of Bear Lake, and they had invited John Curtis to join them. He said no, of course, but he posted the video of their celebration of when they figured out who he was and how cool they thought it was that he was standing there on the beach talking to them. And just really fun stuff. But there's a reason he's doing this. There's a purpose. And again, yesterday I had a chance to walk along with him for a bit, for about a mile. And we recorded that, both video and audio. And we'll get to that at the start of hour 2. You can hear my conversation with Senator John Curtis. Again, while I walked about 1/250th of what he's going to walk. He's actually going to do a little bit more than 250 miles. It's going to be about 252 miles, all said and done, the route he's taking. And he's going to wrap things up in his hometown of Provo, where he first came into politics serving as mayor of the city. But again, he started in Rich County Friday morning, and he's a fast walker. He's a little taller than me, but not enough to really justify this. But I had to step up my pace to keep up with him and keep the cameras pointed at him, and it was a fun experience. So again, we'll get to that in hour 2 of today's show. Coming up in just a minute, again, an update. Which cities in northern Utah have joined in the statewide ban on fireworks? Which cities have instead designated safe areas where personal fireworks can be ignited? Which cities have strangely said not a thing yet here in northern Utah, despite tomorrow being the deadline from the governor's office on them coming up with a plan? And again, a couple of tragic stories. 3 firefighters killed along the Utah-Colorado border over the weekend, 2 seriously injured, and death threats for firefighters here in northern Utah from people upset over the personal fireworks ban. We'll talk about it all right after this.
As America celebrates 250 years of freedom, courage, and opportunity, we invite you to celebrate with your friends, your family, and your community. Join this radio station July 3rd and 4th at 10 p.m. for inspiring patriotic music and heartfelt messages as we provide the soundtrack to the fireworks from Logan's Willow Park and the celebrations in Hiram and Lewiston. It's a tribute to the country we love and the generations who've kept that American dream alive. Our thanks to these proud sponsors. Schreiber Foods. America is built by people who show up and make a difference. Join the employee owners at Schreiber Foods and build a career you're proud of. Go to schreiberfoods.com/careers. Daryl's Appliance, the place for new appliances. From everyday workhorses like Maytag and GE to high-end lines like Wolf and Sub-Zero. Daryl's Appliance, West on Airport Road. This July 3rd and 4th, 10 p.m. Gather under the stars, look toward the sky, and celebrate 250 years of America. A story we're still writing together. Happy birthday, America.
Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology is Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aid technology. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines, where he can customize a hearing improvement program to meet your needs. Call 753-HEAR or visit cachehearing.com.
Back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
The Murdoch Auto Team has been part of Utah's automotive fabric for over 100 years, a century of building a name you can trust.
And it's been a privilege for the Murdoch family to grow alongside this community. We are so proud to have served our friends and neighbors for generations.
Now we're carrying that same commitment forward as we head to a new horizon, driving together into a bigger, brighter future.
You've got to come and see us at any of our 10 locations across the Wasatch Front or online at murdochautoteam.com.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson of Wilson Motor Company. Save big during our 83rd anniversary sale, our biggest sales event of the year. We have reduced prices on over 330 Ford, Nissan, and pre-owned vehicles. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com or drop in for a test drive at one of our 2 great locations, 328 North Main or our pre-owned superstore next to the Olive Garden, and talk with one of our friendly, qualified staff to help you find the right vehicle for you.
Wilson Motor Company. We make car buying easy. Wish I could get a little undrunk.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Coming up again, hour 2 of today's show, we'll speak with, you'll hear my conversation, with Senator John Curtis. I had a chance to walk with him yesterday through the streets of Hiram. He came out of Blacksmith Fork Canyon at about 7 in the morning. Made it into Blacksmith Fork Canyon, left Garden City at 4 in the morning, made it all the way through Blacksmith Fork Canyon. And if you're familiar with that canyon, you know that includes dirt roads and more. And then, for safety reasons, got a ride through parts of it and then, walked up out of the canyon, which is a steep climb if you've ever seen that hill there. And I was able to meet him near the dog park in Hiram, just a little east of the of Mountain Crest High School, if you're familiar with the area. We walked along there quite a ways, and roughly until we got to Blacksmith Fork Vet Clinic out on the main road that goes into Paradise. We shook hands, parted ways. He headed towards Paradise. I headed back towards my vehicle. And I had a hard time keeping up with the guy. He's a bit older than me, but he is a fast walker, and he's in good shape. And it was a lot of fun. We talked about why he's doing it, what he hopes people get out of it, some of the experiences he's had. A hilarious video he's posted on his social media channels, by the way, of running into some people on the beach of Bear Lake on Saturday. As he started in Rich County Friday, made it to Garden City and Bear Lake Saturday, and he went down to the beach, started talking to people. Some people knew who he was. Others had no clue. And he said he really enjoyed that, having frank conversations with people about what America 250 meant to them, what they think about, things they're hearing in the news these days, the direction of the country, all that. And some of them had no idea who he was. They just saw a guy with some people standing around with, filming him with their phones. And he said he enjoyed that anonymity a little bit. But other times he was recognized, including some young men who on the beach of Bear Lake had a few and invited Senator Curtis to join them. It's a hilarious video. He declines, of course, but it's a hilarious video. He's having a good time with this, but he does have a serious purpose for this. Outside of it being something he's always wanted to do, he's walking basically from Rich County to Provo. In the end, it will be actually about 252 miles that he'll actually put feet to pavement or dirt road. And as I understand it, he started his day. He was Fox News flew a crew out to film him in Paradise last night, a few hours after I parted ways with him. And then my understanding is they spent the night somewhere. And again, for security reasons, they're not publishing a map. But my understanding is he started this morning at about 5 a.m. in Liberty. And I'm not sure if they were just going through the Eden Valley today or if they were actually going to make their way all the way over into Morgan Valley as well. And then from there, I'm unsure of the route. But I know he wraps up in Provo before the 4th. So it was a really fun experience to get to talk to him. And that's coming up at hour 2 of today's show. So last week, of course, big news, a lot of debate and arguing online over this. But Governor Cox, state forester, said, speaking with fire managers and marshals and firefighters all around the state, they decided it was not a safe year for personal fireworks, though the state statute does not give the governor any power to instruct cities to ban fireworks. It does give the governor power to declare an emergency, and through that emergency declaration, he then has the power. He decided not to instruct cities to ban fireworks. He said cities have a choice. The state forester, rather, said, due to conditions, it's not going to be a safe year for personal fireworks. Personal fireworks are banned completely throughout the state of Utah unless a city can safely, working with professionals, fire officials, fire managers, and marshals, if the city can safely designate an area where fireworks would not be high risk and would not further tax our firefighters who have already been busy. We had another grass fire just over the weekend that was ironically fireworks triggered here in Cache Valley, which is even outside the legal window. If the ban hadn't been issued by the governor, the legal window would be July 2nd through the 5th. And so outside of that even. So where do we know fireworks have been banned, and where do we know where designated fireworks places have been set up? I picked through everything I could find. Now, if you know anything out of Hiram City, and I'm just not seeing it, give me a call, 753-5868, because as far as I can tell, every city in the valley except Hiram has made an announcement of some sort, one way or another. I'm not seeing anything from Hiram or Wellsville. But outside of that, for the most part, the entire valley, Providence city officials, because they contract for fire services through Logan City, they followed Logan City, who was first, announcing that personal fireworks would be banned within the city throughout the July 4th holiday, with a promise to reassess the situation before Pioneer Day and see if maybe we could bring them back for Pioneer Day. This was a great quote. This is from a Mendon city official. Mendon, understandably, there were restrictions already in place in Mendon because a lot of that unincorporated land out there was already off limits for fireworks and even campfires due to the statewide Stage 2 restrictions due to the conditions. But Mendon made it official. They said, they do have, on Pioneer Day, they have a planned fireworks display on July 25th at the city square. They're still planning to do that. But personal fireworks will be banned within city limits. And they cited some recent fires in Mendon and also an ongoing water crisis that they're dealing with as well. I love this quote, though. A city official in Mendon said, understandably, this is disappointing, but a loss of momentary satisfaction, fireworks, is a small price to pay for not risking community damage or even loss of life. Which, speaking of that, the Utah Fire Department, a collection of fire departments and hotshot crews fighting a fire on the Utah-Colorado border. Over the weekend, news came that 3 firefighters had died and 2 were injured while battling fires on the Utah-Colorado border. They said that blistering heat and strong winds stoked fires across the west throughout the weekend. And early in the day, Sunday morning, technically on the Colorado side of the border, the winds shifted, blew the fires across a group of firefighters, and 3 of them were killed. The National Weather Service said fire conditions in the area remain critical all across the Southwest, in Four Corners region, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. And they said they're still seeing extreme fire behavior from the same fire and some others. 6 new fires just in the last 24 hours here in Utah. Just horrible news. This was also horrible news. And honestly, I hope they find out who this was. And hopefully it's just a bunch of immature teens. It better not be grown adults. But Utah Fire Department shared, South Weber Fire Department shared on Facebook today that after the announcement of the statewide fireworks ban, they had been receiving threats and verbal abuse from people actually calling into the station. And in a social media post this morning, the South Weber Fire Department said people had been calling the station, yelling at firefighters, threatening them, including a couple of death threats, a lot of abusive language over the ban, which is in effect until July 5th. And the department in their social media post said these actions are unacceptable. Our firefighters should not be subject to harassment while serving the community. So, come on, people. I know it's disappointing. I get it. We'll live. Let's be adult about this. Technically a very small price to pay to not put firefighters' lives at risk, to not take finite resources off of firefighting efforts that are already happening in the state in order to be there to patrol cities and make sure that we aren't burning a city down or starting new fires that get out of control quickly. We'll live. It's disappointing. I understand it, but I promise you we'll be okay if we don't have any fireworks to light off personally this July 4th. On that note, again, no cancellations so far. No cancellations in northern Utah that I can find of the professional shows that have been planned. I did some checking around again. In Box Elder County, everyone in Box Elder County has jumped on board with the full personal fireworks ban. Corinne was the first, actually. They cited elevated fire danger. Elwood, Fielding, Manaway, Plymouth, Brigham City, Portage, Tremont, and Willard, they were all shortly after that making their own announcements of personal fireworks bans. And here in Cache County, again, Lewiston, Logan, Mendon, Millville, Nibley, North Logan, Providence, River Heights, and Smithfield have all said that after reviewing the executive order that they feel that a personal fireworks ban is in order. There are going to be some areas, I would guess, that cities may carve out again, and they have until tomorrow, based on the governor's executive order, to actually finalize some kind of a plan for residents to know about ahead of the holiday. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe cities carve out some areas where they say, if you go here to this parking lot, it might be a safe place to light off some personal fireworks. But I have not seen any of those plans yet. And again, Hiram and Wellsville, I haven't seen anything, not a peep from them. But again, they have until tomorrow to finalize that, according to the governor's executive order. And Beaver, the only city I can see that has canceled their July 4th professional show that they had planned. That in Beaver, of course, that's due to the ongoing Cottonwood fire. They said, that in addition to banning personal fireworks, they said we're canceling the professional show as well because we realize that all of our firefighters are out fighting this Cottonwood fire that's been burning for a little over a week and is about almost 90,000 acres at this point. They said just the thought of pulling some of those resources away from fighting the Cottonwood fire so that they can come and police a city fireworks show made zero sense to us. So they canceled that as well. Here in northern Utah, the professional shows, as far as I can tell, well, I know Logan has said theirs will continue. On throughout Cache Valley, there were some cities doing things on the 3rd, some on the 4th. But I believe Hiram City has, as of yet, not made an announcement. So their fireworks plan for the 4th, I believe. So the professional shows here in northern Utah will continue, but pretty much most of the valley, most of Box Elder County have said no personal fireworks. Listeners asked about Rich County, and I've posted a list for those who are curious. In Rich County, things are a little different right now with the agricultural land and more. Ironically, they're not as dry. So I did some checking and some calling, and as soon as I hear back, I'll let you know if you're curious about Rich County. But as of yet, no official announcements from any cities in Rich County had been made. So there's your update on personal fireworks ban, basically the entire state at this point, other than a few small cities that have not said anything yet, but they have until tomorrow. And only one professional fireworks show canceled, that in Beaver, Utah, due to the Cottonwood fire and the exhaustion of firefighting crews already. They're fighting that fire. They didn't want to add to it by pulling them away from that fire and having them have to police a professional show on the city park. So that has been canceled, but everywhere else, as far as I can see, the professional shows, including Logan and Hiram City shows planned for this weekend, will continue. But personal fireworks, just not the year. And don't call and threaten your local firefighters. Honestly, people. If you want to see that story, I first caught it at Fox 13 News. I've linked to it on our Facebook page. It's just tragic to even think of someone doing that. We'll be back with more For the People on the other side of these headlines with KVNU's We'll Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. The Department of Interior has identified the 3 firefighters who were killed over the weekend in a burnover incident that happened along the Utah-Colorado border. Now, officials earlier today identified the victims as Emily Barker, a 38-year-old, Sydney Watson, a 27-year-old, both assigned to the rifle hell attack, and along with Nick Hutcherson, a 27-year-old of the Kaibab National Forest. Now, the crews were battling the Knowles and Gore fire when they were overtaken by flames. Now, 2 other crew members remain hospitalized with burn injuries. Their identities have not been released. Altogether, the 5-person team had deployed emergency fire shelters as a last resort during the Saturday incident. Now, U.S. Wildland Fire Service Chief Brian Fennessy said that these firefighters embodied the courage, professionalism, and selfishness that define the Wildland Fire Service. Meanwhile, the long-awaited Museum of Utah open to the public on Saturday at the Capitol in Salt Lake City, offering visitors a first look at hundreds of artifacts showcasing the state's history. Now, among the premier displays is what's called the Mormon Meteor, a 1930s race car that was driven by Ab Jenkins to break the land speed endurance records on the Bonneville Salt Flats. Now, his grandson, A.B. Jenkins, noted that his grandfather originally sold the vehicle to the state of Utah for $1 to inspire future generations. Now, museum director Tim Glenn said that the car is one of 950 artifacts that are currently on display at the Capitol. Glenn emphasized that the museum's primary objective is to encompass the entirety of Utah's history, allowing all visitors to see themselves reflected in the exhibits. And a 48-year-old domestic violence suspect died Friday morning following a vehicle pursuit in an officer-involved shooting on the southwest side of Logan. Now, Cache County Sheriff's deputies had attempted to pull over Roger Dean Campbell around 9 a.m. Friday morning near 1500 West and 600 South while investigating allegations that he had violated a pretrial protective order. Now, according to Logan City Police Lieutenant Brett Randall, Campbell refused to comply and fled into a nearby neighborhood. Now, during a subsequent confrontation with law enforcement, a deputy fired shots and Campbell crashed his vehicle into a tree. Now, although deputies administered immediate medical aid, Campbell was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, Randall noted the exact cause of death remains unclear, and the Utah State Medical Examiner's Office will determine whether Campbell died from the gunfire or the crash impact. Meanwhile, the Northern Utah Critical Incident Team is investigating the incident. The involved deputy has also been placed on administrative leave, and no other injuries were reported. Well, we're going to see temperatures continuing through the rest of the afternoon in the mid-60s. Tonight we'll drop into the mid-40s, and then we'll see more sunshine headed our way for the rest of the week as temperatures are going to start warming back up into the 80s as we work towards the 4th of July coming up on Saturday. And weather this hour is brought to you by Matt Robbins. Now with the Alera Group, when it comes to your insurance needs, Matt Robbins recently joined the Alera Group to be able to give you more options to help tailor-fit insurance specifically for your needs. It's what Matt Robbins does. Give him a call today at 752-0101. And I'm Will Fiorite for KVNU News.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Among the major decisions from the Supreme Court today, a ruling that allows a president to hire and fire officials at independent government agencies. ABC's Devin Dwyer says it marks a significant expansion of presidential power.
In effect, that has now limited the ability of Congress to create independent, bipartisan agencies across our government. This will transform the federal government and eliminate a lot of those agencies that have both Republicans and Democrats on them. The agencies will still be there, of course, but now a president will be able to pack them with members he chooses because, as John Roberts said, they carry out executive functions.
President Trump is indicating a team will head to Doha, Qatar tomorrow for peace negotiations with Iran. However, Iranian state media reports there will be no negotiations between the U.S. and Iranian teams there. And much of the eastern half of the U.S. is bracing for triple-digit temperatures this week. This is ABC News.
Owning a business may be stressful, but insuring it doesn't have to be. This is Matt Robbins with the Alera Group, formerly Quality First Insurance. Our experienced agents have been in the industry for many years and understand the challenges you face. As an independent agency, we have access to multiple carriers like Auto Owners Insurance to ensure you get the policy that's right for your company. Let's give your business insurance a fresh look. Call us today, 435-752-0101.
Bringing Wall Street to Main Street. From your local experts in downtown Logan, this is the Adams Wealth Advisors Market Report.
Hi, this is Blake with Adams Wealth Advisors. Stocks rallied in spectacular fashion as we kicked off the week. A surge in several mega-cap technology stocks lifted the major market indices. The Dow rose 307 points to 52,183. The NASDAQ, a technology-heavy index, climbed 2.07% to 25,820. The S&P 500 gained 1.18% to 7,440. Today's story centered on Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, whose attempted removal from office by the U.S. president startled global markets. Investors viewed the move as a potential threat to the Federal Reserve's independence. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled today that Governor Cook must be given a reasonable opportunity to defend herself against mortgage fraud allegations before being removed from the office. The ruling reassured markets that the executive branch cannot easily remove officials who participate in determining monetary policy. The bond market held steady with the 5-year U.S. Treasury yield rising 2 basis points to 4.15% and the 10-year yield increasing 1 basis point to 4.38%. With no economic data released today, attention now turns to geopolitics and company-specific news. In the Middle East, the U.S. and Iran carried out tit-for-tat attacks over the Strait of Hormuz during the weekend. The two sides later reached an understanding and agreed to stand down. Nevertheless, the attacks and ongoing disagreement over toll collection in the vital waterway highlight the continued risks surrounding the conflict. Meanwhile, a class action lawsuit has been filed against memory chip makers, accusing them of colluding to restrict supplies in violation of antitrust laws. Shares of all three companies retreated slightly following the news. The Chicago Business Barometer, U.S. job openings data, and the Consumer Confidence Survey will be released tomorrow. Adams Wealth Advisors will be back with more updates.
That's your update from Adams Wealth Advisors, guiding your financial future one day at a time. For personalized help planning yours, reach out to us at 435-752-1702. See you soon, Cache Valley. Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
Forgot to mention this. If you'd like to read more about the 3 firefighters killed in Colorado on the Utah-Colorado border this weekend, as wildfires really just supercharged by heat and big wind gusts. The details are in a story at cachevalleydaily.com. Also, there is more about the celebrations you can still find happening despite the personal fireworks ban throughout the state here in Utah, including, I talked about this a little bit over the towards the end of last week with Governor Cox's office releasing a little bit of a trailer of sorts online that was kind of funny. You can watch that on our Facebook page, by the way. I've linked to it there. But the big America's Potluck event is coming up. This is so they've planned this as part of every state was asked this year to contribute an idea for the nationwide America 250 celebrations. Something that can happen in any state, not specific to one state, but also that was kind of, part of the character of that state. And so Governor Cox and the Utah America 250 Celebration Committee did some surveying, did some asking around, and they came up with this America's Potluck idea. Potluck's a very big part of our culture here in Utah, right? So the observance of America's 250th anniversary will conclude, basically, with nationwide potlucks on July 5th. And there are some happening here in Cache Valley. In fact, a Democratic candidate for Utah's 5th House District, Kendra Henry, is hosting one event. And she told Charlie Schill of CacheValleyDaily.com that this Sunday potluck dinner tradition has always been something she saw as an excuse to sort of slow down, and whether it's your family or your neighborhood, or maybe you invited all the coworkers over. I've seen that happen. Either way, it's an excuse for everybody to get together. And if you have never really stopped and thought about this, the whole idea of a potluck is you get a bunch of people together and there is a bunch of food, but that didn't fall on one person or one family to make sure there was enough food there for everybody. Everybody brings something, and in the end, you usually have too much food. But, I mean, what's a potluck without a little too much food, right? I thought this was a really cool idea. So There is a potluck beginning Sunday here. Again, these are all planned nationwide July 5th. So Sunday at 5 p.m. at Steep Mountain Farm in Wellsville. They've actually got some live music going along with their potluck. And then there is a whole list. They're also asking for this potluck, bring a small donation for the Cache Community Food Pantry, recognizing that not everyone has enough food. So pretty cool stuff. The governor's office has set up a big registration website, I guess you'd call. Yeah, I can't talk today. A registration website, I guess you would call it. It's kind of cool. You can see actually at America250.utah.gov, you can see the Utah events. But again, where this was Utah's suggestion or contribution, if you will, to the planned celebrations nationwide, just for fun. I doubt anybody's going to be traveling to any of these. If you do, I want to hear from you. But just for fun, after you go to America250.utah.gov, go to America250.org. Click on the America's Potluck tab there and check out that map. Technically, if you wanted to get on a plane, you could go be a part of. So this is cool. There are 51 different state commissions that have scheduled, potlucks throughout their state. There are 50,000 independent grocery stores and retail food store chains that have donated food, or even in some cases donated parking lot space for a community potluck. These potlucks, more than 20,000 of them are going to be happening throughout the country on Sunday. And a lot of nonprofits and what are known as bridge building political organizations, i.e. nonpartisan groups that are just about getting people engaged and involved and registered to vote and things like that. More than 500 events set up by those types of organizations. Museums and historical sites have designated themselves as locations for community potlucks. I love this. More than 350 local television news stations and more than 750 local radio stations will be broadcasting from potluck events from around the country. And more than 150 different faiths have organized potlucks themselves for their communities. And again, there's a whole map. I thought for sure, because this was Utah's idea, Utah's contribution to the nationwide celebration this weekend, I thought for sure Utah would have the highest number of potluck locations. And it's close. But I'll be honest with you, the East Coast, for whatever reason, especially Philadelphia, New Jersey, Washington, and let's see, most of Maryland, Richmond, Virginia, and on down here to Greensboro, North Carolina, they actually are beating us. So basically from North Carolina all the way up to Rhode Island along the East Coast, they are actually outnumbering the number of potlucks that I see here in Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. So let's fix that. And Montana, what is your problem? I see like 5 in Montana. Get on board here. It's really cool stuff. Again, this was Governor Cox and the America 250 committee that was put together by the legislature a couple of years ago. Every state was asked to submit an idea to the nationwide celebration, and the July 5th potluck was Utah's contribution. So these are happening all around the country. Here in Utah, you can find already planned potlucks at America250.utah.gov. But if you go to America250.org and click on the America's Potluck button there, you can actually see the nationwide map just for fun. And yeah, maybe if you want to travel one of these, or maybe you are traveling and want to catch one, let them know you're from Utah, and that's where the idea originated, and that's where potlucks were made a weekend staple. So pretty cool stuff. Again, that is america250.utah.org to find an already planned potluck in your neighborhood. If there isn't one, plan one if you're up for it. And then just for fun, go to america250.org to see the nationwide map and where all of these have been planned throughout the country for this Sunday, July 5th, America's Potluck. Pretty cool stuff. And I think it's cool that that's Utah's contribution because that's such a Utah thing. We'll be back with more of For the People right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
As America celebrates 250 years of freedom, courage, and opportunity, we invite you to celebrate with your friends, your family, and your community. Join this radio station July 3rd and 4th at 10 p.m. for inspiring patriotic music and heartfelt messages as we provide the soundtrack to the fireworks from Logan's Willow Park and the celebrations in Hiram and Lewiston. It's a tribute to the country we love and the generations who've kept that American dream alive. Our thanks to these proud sponsors. Schreiber Foods. America is built by people who show up and make a difference. Join the employee owners at Schreiber Foods and build a career you're proud of. Go to schreiberfoods.com/careers. Daryl's Appliance, the place for new appliances. From everyday workhorses like Maytag and GE to high-end lines like Wolf and Sub-Zero. Daryl's Appliance, West on Airport Road. This July 3rd and 4th, 10 p.m. Gather under the stars, look toward the sky, and celebrate 250 years of America. A story we're still writing together. Happy birthday, America.
The Murdoch Auto Team has been part of Utah's automotive fabric for over 100 years, a century of building a name you can trust.
And it's been a privilege for the Murdoch family to grow alongside this community. We are so proud to have served our friends and neighbors for generations.
Now we're carrying that same commitment forward as we head to a new horizon, driving together into a bigger, brighter future.
You've got to come and see us at any of our 10 locations across the Wasatch Front or online at murdochautotteam.com.
The Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
So I bought this house in January. I have the worst lawn in the neighborhood, and I feel terrible. There's a lot of weeds. I was just listening to you talk about right now is a great time to plant grass.
Yes, my game plan would be spray for those weeds. We can kill 98% of your weeds with one application, and then seed right after that.
The Garden Guide, Saturday mornings at 8 on News Talk KVNU.
I want to thank a listener for calling me out on this. I can't believe I didn't even think to mention where you can get out to an already planned potluck this weekend here in Cache Valley. Again, these are planned July 5th throughout the country. This was Utah's contribution to the celebration ideas for America 250 nationwide. So these are happening all around the country, thousands and thousands of them. But it was Utah's idea. So if you want to get out to one, if there isn't one in your neighborhood, you want to plan one, you can still do so, register, and pin the location so people can see it at the website. I've linked to it here, which is america250.utah.gov. If you want to see the nationwide map again for fun, go to america250.gov and click on America's Potluck. It's a cool map. But a listener said, hey, tell us where they are here in Cache Valley. Good point. Thank you. There are 4 planned, all from 5 to 7 p.m., So there is one happening in the parking lot of the Newton Library. That's an America's Potluck event on July 5th at the Town Pavilion. Rules are just like any other potluck. Bring something to share. Bring your own chair probably just in case. And sit and enjoy some conversation. So one in Newton, 5 to 7 at the Newton Library. That is right on the main street there in Newton. You can't miss it, 5 to 7 p.m. There is one happening in Smithfield, 5 to 7 p.m. That is America's Picnic for Cache Valley, they're calling it, at Mack Park in Smithfield on Sunday. Again, it's a potluck. Bring something to share. Bring a chair. And there is a one they're calling America's Picnic and Patriotic Music Celebration, which is happening in, let's see, this is at 280 East Center Street in Logan. This is a community picnic and musical celebration, 5 to 7 p.m. on Sunday. And then finally, here in Cache Valley, the fourth already planned America's Potluck event. If you'd like to get out to one this Sunday, these again are open to anyone. Only rules: you bring something to share. This one goes a little bit later. This one's 5 to 8 p.m. and it's happening in Wellsville, 655 East, 200 South in Wellsville. And that is the event that I mentioned. Kendra Pendry, who will be a candidate in the general election for Utah House 5, has been key in organizing. She also works with Fishes and Loaves, so she's organized this kind of thing before. So there you have it. 4 different events you can get out to here in Cache Valley. If those don't suit your needs and you want to plan your own, there's still time. Set it up at america250.utah.gov on the America's Potluck link there. You can create your event and put in the details and then link to it, pin it on the map so people can find it. It's cool stuff. Utah's contribution to the nationwide America 250 celebration.